Welcome to the Sage Thought Leadership Podcast, transforming the way people think and work so their organizations can thrive. Well, hi everyone, and welcome to our podcast. I'm Ed Kless, and with me today is Brian Goldberg. Brian enjoys helping Polen Capital provide financial security and peace of mind for all of its many clients. As General Counsel and Chief Compliance Officer of the Boca Raton, Florida-based investment management firm, Brian is responsible for leading the organization's legal and compliance team and making sure that all activities of the company meet or exceed legal and regulatory standards. Brian returned home to South Florida to join Polen Capital in 2014 following his time as an associate in New York City law firm's investment management practice. Welcome to the Sage Thought Leadership Podcast, Brian Goldberg.
Thanks for having me, Ed.
And Brian, this is a special series of podcasts that we're doing with the Culture RX folks and Jody Thompson and Callie Ressler. And wanted to first ask you, though, why do you do what you do?
Thanks, Ed. I love doing what I do. What I do here at Polen Capital is help us deliver on our mission. As you mentioned, it's to provide financial security and peace of mind to all of our clients. And so by being in this role, I make sure that we execute on that mission every day. And I love that.
And let's talk a little bit about how you came to ROWE, which is an interesting story because you came through Callie and Jody's second book, which is Why Managing Sucks. So talk a little bit about that.
That's right. So the first thing we wanted to do was make sure that the management team at Polen Capital was on board with this concept. Could we really run a firm where we didn't necessarily mandate that everybody be in their desks Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and still make sure everybody was doing their work and achieving top results? So first, we all read at the management team level, we read Why Managing Sucks, just to learn more about Jody and Callie's take on managing styles. And we said, okay, this is pretty interesting. So we had Jody come in for a one-day training session with the leadership team, learn more about the concept. And we thought, okay, we're going to really do this, aren't we? And so we said, okay, let's go for it. You know, our goal here is to optimize our culture, make sure that the culture can drive top-line business results. So we had Jody come back a few months later for a couple of days and train the entire firm on the concept of ROWE. And of course, we eventually read Why Work Sucks, which was the original book, of course. So that's really where we got our start with ROWE.
So let's talk a little bit about that. It sounds like you had a fairly smooth transition because you got the management team on in first. But I wanted to ask you this: what happened that was perhaps unexpected that you didn't realize was going to be as a result of implementing ROWE at Polen Capital?
I think what might have been unexpected was how quickly everyone embraced the concept. I mean, at the time, especially, it really seemed out there. It really seemed different. But the more we thought about it, we said, wait a second, this is really treating the professionals we've hired with respect and trust and giving them the autonomy to do their jobs. If we felt confident that they could work for our company on behalf of our clients, why can't we trust them to do their work, no matter where and when they wish to do it? And so at first it seemed, like I said, to be a very strange, or maybe not strange, but a difficult concept for us to implement. But once we started down that road, everyone really embraced it and really appreciated that the firm was providing this level of autonomy to everyone that they hadn't experienced before at Polen Capital or at any other firm they'd ever worked at previously.
And you mentioned this was about 2015 that you started this process. So you've had a number of years with this concept under your belt. Talk a little bit about what it's done for you in terms of your hiring practices. That must be a real interesting conversation when you have folks who are coming in for interviews and you describe for them what ROWE is to them. There has to be some looks askance.
I think some prospective candidates think it can't be real, it can't be true, right? It just sounds too good to be true. We think it really gives us a competitive advantage in hiring. We talk about ROWE all throughout the recruitment process. We want prospective hires to know all about it and to get excited about it. And again, we think that by giving everyone that autonomy and that level of respect and trust, that people will feel empowered to do their best, which is what we want from everybody here.
Was anybody unable to make the transition, either from a management perspective or from a team perspective, that just couldn't wrap their mind around it?
Well, I should say, I mean, even though we came around to embracing it very quickly, there still were certainly challenges along the way. Um, certainly it's not for everybody. Some employees might be better suited for an environment where they're having that, face-to-face, very structured environment, 9 to 5, 40 hours a week, and that's how they do their best. We hope that our team here is able to thrive in this environment with ROWE, and we feel that the team has. But certainly, it took some time for some individuals to adjust compared to others. But with the training and really hammering home all the principles in late 15, early 16, we were able to really get everybody transitioned over. And like I said, now everybody really is full on ROWE and loving it.
No regrets whatsoever.
Oh, no, none.
Wouldn't go back.
Definitely not. And I don't think anyone else here would say they would.
Yes, I've heard that is you get spoiled in it too, and I bet it does wonders from a retention standpoint as well.
Definitely. I mean, we survey the team pretty frequently, and this is something we ask people about, and we always get very positive feedback on the ROWE format or structure, if you will. We think, again, it's a real competitive advantage for us, and people want to stay. They don't want to leave Polen Capital and go somewhere else where they have to go back to that traditional corporate environment. That doesn't sound fun at all.
And Brian, we have an exit question that we ask all of our guests on the Sage Thought Leadership podcast, and that is, who is a hero of yours and why are they a hero?
It's a great question. It's hard to narrow it down. I have a lot of wonderful people in my life, and I'm very thankful for all of them. But my grandpa, Bill, he's turning 96 in June, born in 1925. He was in the Navy in World War II. 1943 to 1946, and he is just a wonderful, generous, kind person, and has really been a role model for me in my life. I'm very proud to call him my grandpa.
Excellent. And lastly, Brian, how can somebody contact you?
Best way is probably via email. It's my first initial B, last name Goldberg, Goldberg, at polencapital.com. That's POLENCAPITAL. I'd be happy to chat with anyone who's interested.
All right. Brian Goldberg, General Counsel and Chief Compliance Officer at Polen Capital. Thanks so much for being a guest on the Sage Thought Leadership Podcast.
Thanks for having me, Ed.
Please subscribe to this podcast using the podcast player of your choice. And for more on the results-only work environment, visit GoRow.com.